It's alive. Oh, it's alive. It's alive. It's alive. It's alive.
I see dead people.
Hot shit.
Here's Johnny.
Stop.
Fuck you too.
Alright, so we're doing the thing.
So we're here at the Sunday morning podcast where it's 5 a.m. on Sunday.
It's literally 8 p.m. on a
The
Tuesday.
21st
Literally 8 p.m.
November with Longball Larry,
I'm Ted Danson.
Captain Jeff,
Ted Danson,
I'm Ted
Longball,
Danson. You were Longball.
and Harold Heavy Hands, and Longball Larry.
Strawberry Shortcake, a.k.a. Ted Danson.
You were very close to nailing it. Until, of course, you got to the second word in your sentence and completely fucked the rest of it up. So, you know.
Wait, what part was fucked up?
Sunday.
Sunday. It's a good point. It's a very good point. This episode's literally coming out on Monday. I contacted you guys way too late to record this, so this is literally coming out in 4 days. That's bad math.
6 days.
Thank you.
Tuesday.
Thank you, Strawberry Shortcake.
Well, it's
Yes.
one day because this is Sunday, and it's coming out
Right.
tomorrow.
Or
Right.
it's coming out yesterday
There you go.
because it's actually Tuesday.
It's the best way to think about it.
So it's coming out in -1 days.
Perfect. Let's move off of that topic.
To the audience, we'll be recording this tomorrow. So let us know if you have anything that you would like us to say.
Yeah.
And we will say it tomorrow, and you can hear it today.
Us here, Captain Death, Harold Heavy Hands, and Longball Larry.
Strawberry Shortcake.
He's he's doing pretty good at saying the names. It's just the fact that he's getting your name completely wrong. That, you know.
I know, and the thing is that he's the Longball Larry, and I'm indeed Ted Danson.
No, because we had a salad off, and he clearly lost.
We didn't have a it wasn't a salad off. We never agreed on the salad off. We had a shrimp off. We had a shrimp off, and I won the shrimp off.
I remember that.
Yeah, and that made me officially Ted Danson. You are the closer. You did win a Pong game
But
to become the closer.
2 years later, we had the salad off.
It wasn't a salad off. We were just at Olive Garden.
We were at Olive Garden, and he stopped eating salad, and I continued eating salad. And I said, I'm Ted Danson now.
And I said, no, I didn't agree to these terms.
I was going to say, that doesn't sound fair.
Yeah.
No, but I was like, if you want to...
No.
If you if you want to compete, then you got to eat more salad. And he's like, I've had enough salad, and I was like,
this
I'm
wasn't
Ted
agreed
Danson.
to.
I agree with him.
one of those large bowls of salad.
I agree with Strawberry Shortcake. He's unfair terms.
Larry.
I had a whole carbonara coming. I couldn't just
Right. Why would you
waste
hack
all that
up
on
So
on
did
salad?
I. We got the
You're-
same
you're
exact
up at the
order.
O
You did.
Garden.
You fucking killed it. I'm proud of you.
We got the same order.
I had wine. I had a little bit
And
of
I
vino.
won the salad off.
Yeah, but what had you eaten that day? How hungry were you?
I think I was-
That all doesn't matter.
I was given about
of course
10
it
minutes
matters.
notice before we went to
If you know
Olive
you're
Garden.
about to go into a salad off, you don't eat for 2 days prior, so you
Yeah.
can max on those greens.
No, that's dumb. When I have it off, I just eat whatever I want. Up to the off.
Explains why you've lost the one time that it was official.
Also, when I force myself to eat too much, I get a runny butthole, and I have to stop.
Sounds like a real Longball Larry problem.
But also, I won the salad off.
No.
He did eat
Yeah, I had all the little peppers.
Pepperoncini.
Pepperoncini.
And the onions.
But I got the black olive.
Onions.
You did well. You specifically wanted the olives.
I love olives.
I don't. So, do you guys, do you know what we're doing?
It's 54 backwards.
Do you remember?
I don't. I remember you.
We were really stoned, it's okay.
It happens.
We were at the drive-in, and I handed you a blunt,
There you go.
like I usually do, and I said, do you know what episode you're gonna be on coming up, other than the 200? Because we were talking about the special with Where Am I, and he was giving me some toot about the special. He's like, "Oh, if you let me in more of it, you know, I'll care more." And I was like, "I don't give a fuck how much you care. You're gonna die in 2 fucking minutes when the special
Who
starts."
said that?
Where am I?
Oh, yeah, he might die.
Oh, he's definitely
So,
gonna
like,
die.
for this thing, are you making predetermined characters, like, based off of our characters on the show?
No. It's not D&D.
I felt like that'd be cool.
It's not D&D. It's not D&D. It's a game that I made. But you get to choose what you do, much like D&D.
Also,
And there are dice rolls.
if you die in the game, you die for
You
real.
die for real, which is going to be the
sweet.
catchphrase, and I'm going to try not to get sued by Stay Alive for saying that all throughout the 200 episode special. But if you die in the game, you do die for real.
Thank fuck.
So, you know, for the 200 special, it is very much a game that I have created, but I don't want to elaborate on it too much. I have explained it a little bit to some of the boys. I'm really excited to record it. We're gonna record with my A group, which I'm gonna consider my conservative group. We're gonna record with them first, and then I'm gonna let all hell break loose and record with my wild card group, of which 2 of the members are actually here right now with me. I have Strawberry Shortcake and Harold Heavy Hands.
Wild card, bitches.
They are in the wild card group with Terry the Tickler, Where Am I, and Deputy Dewey.
See, that's why you're a conservative.
That's why you're a long
No,
bitch.
he's in your group. He's in the wild card group.
Yeah, or in the liberals.
Wild card, bitches!
So that's happening. That's probably going to be its own thing.
Who's the chair?
That's Sofa King.
Who's the guy with the face covering thing?
That's Crying Hawaiian.
He looks like the guy from Hey Arnold.
Gerald?
Gerald has like hair
Yeah,
like
he's got like
fucking
Marge
the
Simpson
Marge,
type,
yeah,
yeah.
from Simpsons.
Yeah.
You're just pointing. Now you're just pointing at the screen.
This is it. That's him.
Right. So, so we were stoned. Getting back to my story, we were stoned. We were smoking a blunt. We went to the double feature of The Thing in October, and I was talking about the episode 200 special, and I was also talking about your next episode because, are you doing my pose? You're doing my pose there with the hand out.
So are you. You kind of telling your story going like that. So it's like...
I do talk with my hands, yeah.
It's
So I was saying, I walked up to you and I said, "Do you know who's been trying to record an episode with you, like, forever?" And at
I
first...
said Django Phillips.
Well, no, you've been on several episodes with Django Phillips. You first pointed at, Where Am I? And I said, absolutely not. Because I don't think anyone can handle him. But the truth is, I would say since before episode 100, Harold Heavy Hands has wanted to record an episode with you. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna level with you. I don't know the last time I had you on the show.
Me.
Yeah. Was it when we were talking about Midsummer?
Yes, I was just listening to the past, I was checking on when he was on. There was a Midsummer, catching up on horror movies.
Yeah, I think that was it.
Actually, it might have been the stupid fucking...
Oh shit, the Harry
thing.
Potter one.
Yeah.
Oh, there was a fan
It
fiction.
might have
I
been the Harry
ignored
Potter
the Harry
one.
Potter fan fiction.
Good on
Yes.
you. Good on you. It's a shit show.
Honestly, it's one of our best reviewed episodes.
That was
And
like
I know that you keep saying, I know that you hated doing it, but like people,
That was
people
with
love
Frownswick Boo, right?
and Terry the Tickler. Yeah,
and
no,
Terry.
it was all 4 of us,
We
and
started at like 8 o'clock and we left at like 4 a.m.
well, no, we left at like 1, and we didn't even finish it.
Oh, yeah.
I had to get you guys to come back 2 weeks later to finish the story, because we got halfway through it, and you guys were like, how much of this fucking story is this? And I said, okay, I'm going to go back and I'm going to cut out all the author segments and we'll just read the Harry Potter parts, and it should cut this 5-hour fan fiction down to 4 hours, and everyone was in agreement. But that was actually, I think that was your last episode. Jesus Christ. That was certainly an episode. I had Strawberry Shortcake.
What's your favorite episode?
I had Strawberry Shortcake on.
My favorite, like, of all time?
Yeah.
I don't know if
Probably Vor.
I don't know if he's listened to that much of the show.
Vor.
Yeah.
The Vor one?
What's Vor?
There was a Vor episode with Crying Hawaiian and Where Am I? It was a story about a small man being eaten, and that's what Vor is.
There's a lot of, like, crunching, and it's basically like a fetish of getting
It's a fetish of getting
devoured.
eaten.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And I accidentally had us read a story about it without realizing it, and halfway through we were like, God damn it, it's gonna go down Vor. And then it did for the rest of the episode, and both me, Crying Hawaiian, and Where Am I sat here in uncomfortable silence, because first it was weird. First she, like, fucked the little guy. It's like a guy this tall called Sade Smalls, and first she, like, blew his tiny little dick, and then he was like, let me climb into your mouth, and Where Am I was doing this, like, really creepy little voice for him.
Yeah, he was.
And I had Crying Hawaiian read for the woman in this situation, and he was like, alright, yeah, climb into my mouth. and so Sade climbs into the mouth and starts, like, jacking off, and he's like, kill me! And the woman's like, what? And she finally bites down on Sade, and he starts to, like, scream out in agony as she, like, tastes his blood and cartilage, and he's like, yes! Let me be with you! And he, like, keeps chewing, and then she eats the little guy.
Well,
And people, like, get off to that.
that's crazy.
Yeah, I had a stiffy, like, for the entire episode.
He had a stiffy for the entire
That's why it was his
episode.
favorite.
I can never talk about that episode enough. People are probably sick of me talking about that episode because it was an accident. That episode was an accident, and I named the episode after that. I'm pretty sure it's called, like, episode 160, where we accidentally read Vor. That's literally the title of the episode. I'm looking at the playlist here. I know I recently had Strawberry Shortcake on with Django.
It was Games with Ghoulies.
We were doing a Games with Ghoulies episode. That was shout out 168. That was part 4 of the Games with Ghoulies, where we read rituals and you know, stupid little urban legends and stuff. Recipes for destruction. Yeah, and then that was a shout out to episode 165. That one time we accidentally read Vor. Good times. Let's see Harold Heavy Hands here. That's gonna be a little bit
How's your weekend?
sooner.
I mean, you still got one day left because it's Sunday, but like...
It is. Well, I mean, it's pretty much over. This is
139.
Or no, it's
My
Sunday
Immortal.
morning. Right?
That was your last episode. 39. Alright, well, this is episode 188. So it's certainly been a while since I've had either of you. I've had you. I haven't had. I haven't had you on in like a year. I want you guys to know I do that joke literally every time I say that. It's the first time that other people are doing it and I'm not doing it. It's been a while. So I haven't had Harold Heavy Hands on like all year, and I had Strawberry Shortcake on like, I would say half a year ago. Was that pre-pandemic? That was pre-pandemic.
I think so.
I
I think
old,
that was like right at the beginning of
I had the old TV in here.
Yes.
The demic.
Yeah, but that was like right when it first was kicking off, so it might have been like March or something like that.
And it's starting back up.
Yeah, we're getting there. Who knows? Cancel Christmas. Yay. So, anyway. Episode 188. Getting back to the story, so we're getting high at the drive-in. We're about to watch those movies.
We're never gonna finish this stuff.
And I say, you know who really wants to record an episode with you? And you point at Where Am I? And I say, absolutely not. And then you guess correctly and you say Harold Heavy Hands, but you say his real name. And I'm like, yeah,
Which is
I'm like, you nailed
Ted
it.
Danson.
No, it's Long Ball Larry.
So
No.
here we are. We're finally doing it. I would say Harold has wanted to do this since, like, before episode 90. And I was trying to find material for us to read, and I didn't want us to get into anything serious. I didn't want us to get into anything long. So I told myself, what's short, what's quick, what can we trade off on, but also, like, enjoy doing. And I recently did the first half of this book with Deputy Dewey, and he had a really good time. So I'm hoping that we enjoy. But we are on the second book by Alvin Schwartz, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Oh, nice.
We are reading more Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. This is part 2 of the second out of the 3 books, or part 4 of the Feel the Schwartz episodes that we've done. Each part has been done with different people. So I'm here with Strawberry Shortcake and Harold Heavy Hands to read more Alvin Schwartz and look at those fun Stephen Gamel illustrations that are now no longer published. Rest in peace, you ugly illustrations.
Are any of these about claws?
They very may well be. I know that since episode like 68, you've been looking for claws.
It's
So
a claw special.
I
That's
saw
the
the
claw
claw
special,
special, yeah.
So how do you boys feel about just jumping right in?
Let's do it.
What noise was that? He like raised his hand. He was like, "Huh?"
And we're starting with the 54 backwards,
Yeah, we're starting with 54 backwards.
which is 45.
I
For
shall
those that don't know, it's 45.
lead the way. This next section of stories that we're going to be reading is called "When I Wake Up, Everything Will Be All Right." There are scary stories here about a subway car, a shopping mall, and other dangerous places. I don't think shopping malls are very dangerous. I would also level that subway cars are dependent on where you are, because in Philadelphia, I definitely didn't feel safe. But that's also the city in general.
And city claws.
We might get there. We might see some claws. You never know. I'm gonna let
Big, meaty.
claws. I'm gonna let Strawberry Shortcake start with this first one. We got a little guy up here. He's got some claws.
Okay, yeah.
Look at him go. He got a
Claw.
strong arm. He got a strong arm over here.
Yeah.
And then we got Grandma and a nice kite. And I'm gonna let Strawberry Shortcake start with "Oh, Susanna."
Don't you cry for me. Susanna and Jane shared a small apartment near the university where they were students. When Susanna got back from the library one night, the lights were out and Jane was asleep. Susanna undressed in the dark and quietly got into bed. She'd almost fallen asleep when she heard someone humming the tune to the song "Oh, Susanna." "Jane," she said, "please stop humming. I want to get some sleep." Jane didn't answer, but the humming stopped, and Susanna fell asleep. She awakened early the next morning. Too early, she decided, and was trying to get back to sleep when she heard the humming again. "Please go back to sleep," she told Jane. "It's too early to get up." Jane didn't answer, but the humming continued. Susanna became angry. "Cut it out," she said. "It's not funny." When the humming still did not stop, she lost her temper. She jumped out of bed, pulled the covers off Jane, and screamed. Jane's head was gone. Somebody had cut off her head. "I'm having a nightmare," Susanna told herself. "When I wake up, everything will be alright."
And it wasn't. That's the end of the story.
94.
That is. It's 94 backwards is the current page we're on. in
Great.
case anyone-
I'm really happy that we're going to continue talking about what page we're on. For all of those who are possibly reading along with us, we are not on page 94.
We're going to be on 05. We're going right from 94 to 5.
All right. Look
Just
at
like
these
Windows
guys.
counting.
Look at these. Look at these
yeah.
weird guys going
Little
on.
triplets or
We're
something.
going to let since you're in the middle, I think it's only
I
right.
am the man in the
I
middle.
think we're only going to let Harold Heavy Hands read "The Man in the Middle." Stuck in the middle.
You can't make musical jokes about every title.
Stuck in the middle. We could try.
It was almost midnight. Sally Truitt had just gotten on the subway train at 50th Street.
You know the crazy part? We're on the 50th page. So for those listening along, we're on the 50th page, and it just mentioned 50th Street. So that's a shot.
Great.
Everybody.
Everyone, yep, take a hit.
Subway train at 50th Street after visiting her mother. Don't worry, Sally had told her. The subway is safe. There is always a policeman on duty. But that night, she didn't see one, except for her. The subway car was empty. At 42nd Street, 3 tough-looking men got on. 2 of them were holding up the third, who looked drunk. His head rolled from side to side, and his legs refused to work. When they got him seated between them, his head came to rest on one of his shoulders. Sally thought he was staring at her. She buried her head in a book and tried not to notice. At 28th Street, one of the men stood up. "Take it easy, Jim," he said to the man in the middle, and he got off. At 23rd Street, Jim's other friend stood up. "You'll be fine," he said, and he got off. Now the only ones left in the car were Jim and Sally. Just then the train went around a sharp curve, and Jim pitched onto the floor at Sally's feet. When she looked down at him, she saw a trickle of blood on the side of his head, and, just above it, a bullet hole.
It was Weekend at Jim's.
Yeah, it was weekend at Jim's. Jim was fucking dead the whole
You'll
time.
be
Bruce
fine.
Willis. Yeah, you'll be fine, and then and then he got off.
Shit. And then everybody got off.
Yeah,
And then we got off
Sally.
in the room.
Great. I'm gonna. Why? Why is this a title? All right, I'm gonna read The Cat in a Shopping Bag.
It was on page
The
52.
cat in the shopping bag.
Well, you know, Mike would never forgive me if I didn't get the words right. Cat in the cradle with a silver spoon.
A little boy blue and the man on the moon.
Cat in a shopping
I
bag.
don't know when.
But we'll be together there.
Thank you, boys.
I know we're gonna have a good time, dear.
The cat
Gonna have a shopping bag then.
in a shopping bag. Mrs. Briggs was driving to the shopping mall to do some last-minute fucking Christmas shopping when she accidentally ran over a cat.
He loves Christmas.
I love Christmas. That's why it's the only holiday that we have soon to be 10 episodes of on this fucking show. She could not bear to leave the corpse on the road for other cars to hit and squash, so she stopped, wrapped the cat in some tissue paper she had with her, and put it in an old shopping bag in the back seat. She would bury it in the backyard when she got home. Oh, I already see the hijinks coming. She's gonna gift this corpse to her granddaughter. Stupid Mrs. Briggs. Don't you know Christmas is for commercialism and capitalism? At the mall, she parked her car and began walking to one of the stores. She had taken only a few steps when, out of the corner of her eye, she saw a woman reach into the open window of her car and take the shopping bag with the dead cat.
Oh,
Never
no.
mind. Then the woman quickly got into a car nearby and drove away. Joke's on them. That's a corpse in there.
Yeah, that bitch stole a cat. Like, that
Mrs.
one-
Briggs ran back to her car and followed the woman. She caught up with her at the diner down the road. She followed her inside and watched the woman slide into a booth and give a waitress her order. As the woman sat sipping her soda, she reached into Mrs. Briggs' shopping bag, and then she bent down and looked inside. A look of horror crossed her face. She screamed and then promptly fainted. The waitress called an ambulance. 2 attendants carried the woman away on a stretcher, but they left the shopping bag behind. Mrs. Briggs picked up the bag and ran after them. "This is hers," she called. "It's her Christmas present. She wouldn't want to lose it."
Of course.
Perfect. Mrs. Briggs, you are a sadistic cunt.
Clever way to ditch a dead cat. Excuse me, my eyes are up here.
Right. Strawberry Shortcake has donned the chest plate of my Master Chief Spartan armor that I'm working on for Halloween next year. Alright, so we got a nice looking brick-laid basement with what looks like the shadow of a bed.
Yeah.
Oh, and
It's
that
a bed
makes
by a
sense
window.
because it's the bed by the window. Strawberry Shortcake, take it away.
It's 45 backwards. The three old men shared a room at the nursing home. Their room had only one window, but for them it was the only link to the real world. Ted Conklin, who had been there the longest, had the bed next to the window. When Ted died, the man in the next bed, George Best, took his place, and the third man, Richard Green, took George's bed. Despite his illness, George was a cheerful man who spent his days describing the sights he could see from his bed. Pretty girls, a policeman on horseback, a traffic jam, a pizza parlor, a fire station, and other scenes of life outside. Richard loved to listen to George, but the more George talked about life outside, the more Richard wanted to see it for himself. Yet he knew that only when George died would he have his chance. He wanted to look out that window so badly that one day he decided to kill George.
Easy.
He's gonna die soon anyway, he told himself. What difference would it make? George had a bad heart. If he had an attack during the night and a nurse could not get to him right away, he had pills he could take. He kept them in a bottle on top of the cabinet between his bed and Richard's. All Richard had to do was knock the bottle to the floor where George couldn't reach it. A few nights later, George died just as Richard had planned he would.
Easy.
Yeah. And the next morning, Richard was moved to the bed by the window. Now he would see for himself all the things outside that George had described. After the nurses had left, Richard turned to the window and looked out. But all he could see was a blank brick wall.
Ah, so George was the best at lying.
He was.
Right. There you go.
Telling all these
Wonderful.
fancy things.
Wonderful story. And not quite close to a claw, we got the dead man's hand.
So which page are we on?
I don't care. Harold Heavy Hands. Harold Heavy Hands, it's only right that you read the dead man's
The
hand.
dead man's claw. The students at the school for nurses got along quite well with one another, except for Alice.
Ooh, bitch.
Yeah.
Cunt.
The trouble with Alice was that she was perfect.
Perfect.
At
cunt.
least, that is how it seemed to the other students. She was always friendly and always cheerful. Nothing ever upset her. Her school assignments were always on time and always perfect. She didn't even bite her fingernails.
Bitch.
I'm sorry, I fucked that part up. Let me go back. She didn't even bite her claws. Many of the students.
He wishes he was here for the claw special, where all of our stories mentioned claws.
I heard there was like a Pee Wee Herman noise every time the claws was mentioned.
Yay! Many of the student nurses resented Alice. They would have liked to see her fail at something, become frightened or cry, or do something that showed she had weaknesses like they did. One night, several students tried to frighten Alice with a practical joke. They borrowed the hand of a... Shit.
You can back up.
I gotta back up.
They borrowed
the... They borrowed the claw of a corpse they had been studying in anatomy and tied it to the light cord in her closet. When she tried to turn on the light, she would find herself holding a dead man's claw. Ooh. That would scare anybody.
Not
one of them
scare
said.
anybody.
Doesn't scare her. Nothing will. After tying the claw in place, they went to the movies. When they got back, Alice was asleep. But when they didn't see her the next morning, they decided to find out what happened. There was no sign of Alice in her room, but they soon found her. She was sitting on the floor of a closet.
Ooh, big claw.
staring at the dead man's claw and mumbling to himself. Alice didn't even look up. The joke had worked, but nobody was laughing.
I think she scared herself silly. Seeing that hand.
That big, meaty claw.
Got a nice gruesome image of that wire string holding that claw hand up right there.
I think she was
nice little tiny finger.
claustrophobic.
I liked that. That was good. Alright, we got a weird Voldemort looking face in the mirror.
Oh,
that's
man,
the
in the
ghost.
mirror.
That's the ghost.
I'm looking
at a ghost in the mirror. Alright, this is a scary game that young people sometimes play.
I'm asking him to change his way.
Trying to conjure up a ghost in the bathroom mirror. Many don't really believe that a ghost is gonna appear, but they try to raise one anyway, for the fun and the excitement.
For the band?
For the band. Some are willing to settle for any ghost, but others have a particular ghost in mind. One of these is a ghost named Mary Worth, also known as Mary Jane, or Bloody Mary.
Bloody Mary.
She is the heroine of an old comic strip, but some say she was actually a witch who was hanged at the infamous witch trials in Salem, Massachusetts in 1692. Another of these ghosts is La Llorona, the weeping woman who wanders the streets and cities and towns from Texas to California throughout Mexico looking for her lost child, owned by Blumhouse Studios.
Vivian Lopez?
Still another is Mary Wales, a young woman who is supposed to have been killed in a car accident in Indianapolis, Indiana, in about 1965. Her ghost is one of those vanishing hitchhikers. It is said that again and again she thumbs a ride home in a passing car and then vanishes before she gets there. Here is how ghost hunters try to raise a ghost. They find a quiet bathroom. They close the door, and they turn off the lights. While they stare at their face in the mirror, they repeat the ghost's name, usually 47 times specifically, or 100 times unspecifically. If any ghost will do, they say any ghost in place of a name. If they do manage to raise one, its face will slowly replace their face in the mirror. Some say a ghost is likely to be angry at being disturbed. If it gets angry enough, they say it will try to shatter the mirror and come right into the room. But a player can always turn on the lights and send the ghost back to where it came from. And when that happens, the game is over. And as Punxsutawney Trill would say, I'm not scared of you anymore!
Adios mio.
Alright, Strawberry Shortcake.
It sounds like a good way to make somebody say some stupid shit to their mirror 100 times.
Perfect.
Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. It's impossible
it's
to
harder
say
to
it more
actually
than
do,
6
right.
times in a row.
So I'm gonna let Strawberry Shortcake take on the curse.
Just becomes blue, 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 blue.
And the ghost comes out. You
goes
called
to the
for
whale.
me?
Pissed off looking whale.
The curse.
The curse. My dad's friend, Harry Potter, was a small, nervous man always looking around as if he was in some kind of danger. After he told me this story about his college fraternity, I understood why. It was Hogwarts. The frat doesn't exist anymore, he said. It was banned years ago. We had just 9 members at that point, and we were taking in 2 more. Jack Lemmon and Howard Kramer.
What?
He's not gonna remember those names.
I will. One night in January, just about this time of year, the 9 of us took them out into the country for their initiation. We took them to an old deserted house where 2 young men, about our age, had been murdered recently. Their murderer was still at large. We gave Jack a lighted candle and told him to go up. No, he was Jack Lemmon, and the other's Howard Kramer. And Harry Potter, of course. So we gave Jack a lighted candle and told him to go up to the 3rd floor. Stay there for an hour, we told him. Then come back down. Don't speak. Don't make any noise. If your candle goes out, carry on in the dark. From where we were standing, we could see the light from Jack's candle moving up the stairs to the 2nd floor, then to the 3rd. But when he got to the 3rd floor, his candle went out. We guessed that he had come to a drafty corner and the wind blew it out. But when the hour went by and he didn't come down, we weren't so sure. We waited another 15 minutes and got more and more nervous. So we sent Howard Kramer up after him. When Howard got to the 3rd floor, his candle also went out. We waited 10 minutes, 20 minutes, but there was no sign of either of them. Come on down, we called, but they didn't answer. Finally, we decided to go and get them. Armed with flashlights, we started up the stairs. It was as quiet and dark as a grave in that house. When we got to the 2nd floor, we called out again, but there was no answer. When we got to the 3rd floor, we walked into a great big open space like an attic. Jack and Howard weren't there, but we saw footprints in the dust. These led to a room on the other side of the attic. That room was also empty, but there was fresh blood on the floor, and the window was wide open. It was about 25 feet to the ground, but there was no ladder or rope in sight that they could have used to get down. We searched the rest of the house and the land around the house and found nothing. We decided they were playing a trick on us. We figured that in some way they had escaped through the window and were hiding in the woods. The blood on the floor was to throw us off the track. We guessed that they'd show up the next day with a lot of stories and a lot of laughs. But they didn't. The next day we told the Dean of Men what had happened, and he reported it to the police. The police didn't find anything either, and after several weeks the search ended. To this day, no one knows what happened to Jack Lemmon and Howard Kramer.
Harry, did you put your name in the goblet of fire?
Dean! Dean! Sammy! I don't want to watch any more of that show with you.
Come on, man!
Alright, so we got a fun picture of some stairs.
Spooky stairs.
Spooky, misty stairs with some vapor.
You damn Winchester boys.
Oh, shit.
There's still more of the story.
But there isn't much more to tell, he said.
Right.
We weren't arrested, but the college disbanded the fraternity and suspended the 9 of us from school for a year. The strangest part came after we graduated. Someone once placed a curse on us. Every year since then, around the time of that initiation, one of us has died or gone crazy.
What was that number?
9 years later.
And then we have, I don't know, a dark hallway.
I'm the only one left. What?
There's
The
more.
story keeps continuing. It's on several pages. This is supposed to be a book.
I'm
You'd
the only
see
one
this.
left, he said, and I'm in pretty good health. But there are times when I feel just a little peculiar, and then in parentheses, now rush at someone in the audience and scream,
What audience?
So
I rushed.
So in the honor of scary stories to tell in the dark, these are stories that are supposed to be told like around
On
a
a campfire
campfire,
and
or you know, to your siblings, or you know, like when you stayed over at sleepovers as a kid and there were a bunch of you. And this is a real story. I'm now telling a real story.
Okay.
There's a bunch of you up in your friend's like 3rd floor bedroom, and all of you are deciding to tell scary stories, and one of you decides to tell a scary story about that person's creepy ass basement, and we dare Where Am I to go down and check out the creepy ass basement, and he comes up crying, and his mom has to come and pick him up from the sleepover because we scared him so bad that he didn't want to hang out with us anymore.
Oh no.
Oh, I blame it all on Terry the Tickler. Anyway,
The devil was down there.
the devil was down there is what he said. Good stuff. Nothing's changed.
Shit.
Oh, we're on to the next section. This one's called The Last Laugh. These stories are scary and
Furry.
funny.
Funny.
He said
That's
furry,
a little Freudian.
scary, and
There's
Funny.
something you want to share?
he's a fun bat guy.
I mean, you want to
You like big old cat tits?
What's your spirit animal?
fucking, I don't know, probably something shitty like a fucking mouse or something.
That was so quiet. Fucking something shitty like a mouse or something. Like a fucking field mouse.
If you couldn't quite hear that, Harold Heavy Hands wants to be a sexy little mouse for me.
No.
And nibble at
All
my
right,
toes.
so we have a fun picture of a busted ass church and an even more
piece of
busted ass little graveyard right next to it. That's fun.
What's yours?
It's a hippo.
Oh, and I'm gonna.
Jesus.
Is it my turn? No, it's your turn.
Oh, it's my turn?
You're gonna read about the church.
Heavens.
Me and Larry used to go to church together.
Long ball Larry Burger.
Great.
Bull Larry Bird. There was a fellow named Long Ball Larry who wasn't afraid of anybody alive.
It seems on point.
But anybody who was dead scared the wits out of him. One night, Long Ball Larry was out driving in the country in his old Jeep when he got caught in a bad thunderstorm. The rain was coming down in sheets. Since his Jeep didn't have a top to it, Larry started looking for a place to take shelter. But at the first place he came to, he didn't even slow down. It was an old deserted cabin, probably as dry as a bone inside, but Larry knew for a fact that it was haunted, and he wasn't going to stay there. A few miles farther he came to an old abandoned church standing all alone in a field. It hadn't been used in years. All the window glass was gone, but it still had sections of roof intact. So Larry parked his Jeep and ran inside. Long Ball Larry. Just for
You've missed two of them.
It was as dark as could be in there. Larry groped around until he found a pew and sat down. It was nice and dry, just as he thought it would be, and he stretched out his legs and made himself comfortable. Suddenly there was a big flash of lightning, and Long Ball Larry saw that he wasn't the only one in the church. There were people sitting in almost every pew. They all had their heads bowed as if they were praying, and all they were dressed in white. These must be ghosts sitting in their shrouds, Larry thought. Long Ball Larry. They must have come in some graveyard to get dry. Larry jumped up and ran down the aisle as fast as he could, right smack into one of the ghosts. And the ghosts, he went, bah!
The ghost was a goat, apparently.
Bah!
That was it. Instead of saying boo, this ghost was just very specifically bah.
Bah!
Bah. Good stuff.
Whoa!
Water free.
I got some fun looking baseball boys over here. All right.
A little extra mouth on that one on the right?
Yeah, a little bit. Oh, we got the bad news. Hey.
Bears. The bad news Bears baseball.
Bad news.
Look at that, we're all-
Hey, look at
I wonder
you.
if that's related.
Well, they are wearing Cubs hats, aren't they?
Yeah.
Looks like it.
Fucking Todd.
Leon and Todd loved baseball. When they were young, they had played on the town's baseball team. Leon had been the pitcher, and Todd had played second base. Now that they were a lot older, they spent their free time touching each other's wieners. Just kidding. Watching baseball games on TV and talking about baseball.
Home run.
Do you think they play baseball in heaven? Leon asked Todd one day. That's a good question, said Todd. The one who gets there first should let the other one know somehow. And as it turned out, Todd got to heaven first, and Leon waited patiently to hear from him. One day, Leon found Todd sitting in the living room waiting for him. Leon was very excited to see him. What's it like up there? He asked. And what about baseball? When it comes to baseball, said Todd, I have some good news and I have some bad news. The good news is that we do play baseball in heaven. We have some fine teams. I play second base on my team, just like I used to in the old days. That's the good news. What's the bad news? Asked Leon. The bad news, said Todd, is that you're scheduled to pitch tomorrow. Oh.
And Strawberry's catching. 07.
Oh, we got a fun picture of a little lady with a fun foot sticking out of the ground.
Very fun foot.
And she's carrying a box on wheels. It's a good picture, Steve Gamel. Good for you. Cemetery soup for Strawberry Shortcake.
On her way home from the market, the woman took a shortcut through the cemetery.
Naturally.
There, sticking up out of the ground, she saw a big boner. She picked it up and looked it over carefully. This will make a very good soup boner, she said. I think I'll take it home. It's perfect weather for hot soup. When she got home, the first thing she did was start the soup. Into the big soup pot went water, carrots, green beans, corn, barley, onions, potatoes, a snitch of beef, some salt and pepper, and the boner. She brought it all to a boil, then brought it down to a simmer.
Why are we like 5 years old? Fucking big like him. It's like even I'm laughing at you just say the word boner.
He said boner. Yum, she said, sniffing it and tasting it. I can hardly wait till supper. Suddenly, she heard a small voice. Please give me back my boner. The woman paid no attention.
Just like a
Soon
woman
she heard
would.
the voice again. May I have my boner back, please? The woman was reading the woman was reading the newspaper, and again she didn't take any notice. In a little while, the voice spoke up once more. It was beginning to sound angry. Give me back my boner! The woman kept on reading the paper. Some people are too impatient, she muttered. Once more the voice spoke. Now it sounded very angry, and it was so loud that the whole house shook.
Please don't shake my house.
I want my boner back!
The woman reached into the pot, grabbed the boner, and threw it out the window. In a voice just as loud, she shouted, "Take the boner!" There was an eerie silence. Then the woman heard footsteps scurrying away from the house, down the road toward the cemetery, and she got up and served herself some soup.
I'm so confused.
Boner soup.
Are you sure there's not more?
It's weird.
Keep going, keep going. It's just boner soup.
37.
This is a big old suit. It's a hanger head. It's the new Slender Man. It's Hanger Man.
Oh, shit.
All right. You're going to read the brown suit.
All right, here we go with the brown.
From boner soup to brown soup.
A woman came at...
Woman came.
That's the end of the story.
A woman came to the funeral parlor to see her husband's corpse. "You did a good job," she said to the undertaker. "He looks the way he always looked, except for one thing. My husband always wore a brown suit, but you have dressed him in blue." "There's no problem," said the undertaker. "We're gonna easily change that." When she returned later, her husband was wearing a brown suit. "Now he looks just the way he always did," she said. "I know you went through a lot of trouble." "It was no trouble," he said. "As it happened, there was a man here who was wearing a brown suit, and his widow felt that the blue would be better. He's about your husband's size."
You're going to fall asleep in the middle of the reading.
"So we gave him the blue and gave your husband the brown." "Even so," she said, Changing all that clothing was a big job.
Not really.
Really? Said the Undertaker. All we did was exchange their heads.
I don't know if the mic picked any of that. Anyway.
It's okay. That was a brown suit.
Brown suit. Google it.
57.
Yes, this is page 57.
Oh,
of course
I get the one that's a fucking song.
Boom!
This one is called Baroom.
It's got 2 heads.
O'Leary is dead, and O'Reilly don't know it. O'Reilly is dead, and O'Leary don't know it. They both are dead in the very same bed, and neither one knows that the other one's dead. Baroom! Baroom! To the tune of the Irish Washerwoman.
Oh, what's the Irish Washerwoman?
You're gonna learn.
Oh!
I would try and sing this, but I'm not gonna embarrass myself. Baroom!
Whoa! Hold the fuck on!
That's 77.
That's 77!
We're on page
Forwards
77.
and backwards.
And backwards!
It's a palindrome.
I'm gonna read the next one
That's
because
fair.
that
Whoa,
one
look at the
lasted.
teeth on that motherfucker.
That's a big old chair.
That chair's teeth.
Oh, thumpity thump!
Thumpity thump thump.
I got a baroom into a thumpity thump.
Thumpity thump all you damn well thump thump!
I don't even know how to say that word.
I know Schenectady.
Or the
I don't know
word.
the second
Or
one.
the word right behind it. When we moved to Schenectady
Scodaris.
from Schoharie, we rented a house awful cheap.
Tooths.
Thumpity thump! When we moved to Schenectady from Schoharie, we rented a house awful cheap because it was spooked and nobody would live in it. But we didn't care because we didn't take no stock in spooks. We had just gone to bed the first night, dog tired from riding in a wagon all day. We hadn't had time to shut our eyes when we heard a thumpity thump, thumpity thump, coming down the attic stairs. I covered my head with the blankets, but I couldn't shut out the sound. Thumpity thump. Oh, fuck. Thumpity thump. It went. I could hear it, plain as day. Past the bedroom door. Thumpity thump. Thumpity thump. And down the stairs. Thumpity thump. Thumpity thump. And through the kitchen. Thumpity thump. Thumpity thump. And down the cellar stairs. Thumpity thump. Thumpity thump. Making the most awful racket you ever heard. It was more than we could stand. So we all followed the sound to see what was going on. When we got down the cellar stairs, we saw it. That it was a chair that made all the racket. There it was, with one of its legs pointing to a place in the dirt on the floor. And when we all stood and just gawped till my brother Ike said he believed that the chair was trying to tell us something about the place it was pointing at. So Ike went and got a shovel and started digging. He didn't have to dig far before his shovel struck something hard. Pretty soon we could see the edge of a box sticking out. We all hollered for him to hurry up and uncover the rest of it. And the chair, it got so excited it jumped up and down like it had gone plumb crazy. When I got the box uncovered, Pop and the boys pried off the lid and there was the body of a man all smooched with blood. It was plain as the nose on your face that he had been murdered. And the chair wanted folks to know it. Right then and there we decided to leave. Being strangers, everybody would think that we had murdered him and come here to hide the body. It didn't take long to fill up that hole and get out of the house. And the chair was awful mad about our leaving, and it went up the cellar stairs, thumpty-thump, thumpty-thump, louder than when it had gone down. Then it thumpty-thumped right up next to the stairs, and louder still. And when it got back into the attic, it thumpity-thumped so loud that we thought it would thump all the plastering down on our heads. Nobody asked us why we were moving out so soon, because nobody ever stayed more than one night in that place, and most, not that long. But I can tell you we were thankful to get back to Schoharie, where chairs stay where they put... What? Right.
Scoheries.
Where chairs stay where they're put and don't go raring and rampaging around scaring folks out of their wits, pointing out murders and goodness knows what. It's a fun one. Oh, that's literally the end of the book.
Thumpity
Whoa.
thump!
On page
Thumpity
8.
Thumpity thump ends the fucking book. Would you look at that?
Would you?
We about to thump?
Thump you right now.
Oh, yeah. Thump me, daddy.
So your spirit animal's fucking hippo?
Yeah, thumpity thump.
Holy shit.
Yeah, my spirit animal's a hippo.
That's insane.
Since we got time, I think we should.
Hippos will fuck you up.
They will?
Hippos will fuck
I
you up. They have more deaths per year caused by a hippo than by sharks.
Hell yeah. You fucking mouse. What's your spirit animal? Death?
My spirit animal? I don't know if I've ever been asked that question before.
Whales have the biggest dicks.
No, definitely not in that case. I don't know. I always said that like my spirit animal's probably like an otter or something, or like a squirrel,
Like a slippery little...
like a rodent
Yeah,
critter of
just a
some kind.
Slippery little devil.
Nice, fun, like a little dog, maybe.
Okay, yeah.
Like a playful pup. Since we finished that one, I think we should actually get into like a little bit of the third book since we have some time.
Okay.
Let me just
What's that bird that like walks around and looks all freaky?
An emu?
No.
Can you be more
It
specific?
kind of looks like a pelican.
A flamingo?
No.
A seagull?
No. It's like, this is a rare bird.
A pelican?
I'm gonna find
Can you
it.
be like a toucan?
I like toucans.
Oh, it's a shoe bill?
Shoebill. Yeah, I know. They got them fat ass beaks.
Are you saying that I'd be that?
No, that'd probably be what I'd be. Hold on.
No, you'd be the shoebill?
What's that creepy ass bird he says?
You ever see this fucking bird?
No.
It's fucking weird looking. Hold on.
It looks like a Pokemon. It's like in between a flamingo and a pelican. The fuck am I looking at? Jesus Christ, it looks like a pterodactyl.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
He is a shoebill stork. Birds are
Oh, it's a stork.
literally the
That's what you're trying to say.
definition of the term valor.
It's specifically the
They are
shoebill.
descendants of
Yeah, it's
dinosaurs,
specifically the
The
shoebill
bill
stork.
of a shoe.
and they have also been known to stand up to crocodiles in the wild as well.
Alright, listen, cunts. We're gonna read a little bit of Scary Stories 3 because I didn't know that there were only fucking 20 minutes worth of Scary Stories 2.
More tales to chill your boner.
Can you stop touching my stuff? He's looking for claws.
There's zero claws.
There's 0 claws in this one.
I mean, is it...
But it's also not a Word document.
Yeah, it's like
an
images.
image.
It's probably not like
Scan,
OCR.
so it's not
Yeah.
gonna do. It might have. Honestly, it might have. Scary Stories 3, More Tales to Chill Your Boners. Alright. And this one, of course, is by Alvin Schwartz, our godfather. And we got a witch just screaming on the cover page. All of our screams were accepted. Scary Stories 3 with a pissed off candied apple and a spooky tree.
What is that?
And whatever's happening
doggy.
with his arm over there. Scary Stories 3, More Tales to Chill Your Bones. Alvin Schwartz, of course, drawings by the wonderful Stephen Gamel. Rest in peace. These are not published anymore. They got a different author to come back and do less spooky illustrations. Oh, this one's dedicated to Justin.
I wish we knew it, Justin.
Yeah. Contents. Oh, we're gonna start with Boo Men. Yeah. Boo Men.
Long ball, you're up.
Is he?
No, Ted Danson is up. Yeah, 'cause
All
you
right.
just thumpity-thumped.
I just thumped. I'm gonna let you read some Boo Men.
It's the Boohoo Men. It's a Baja Men reference. The girl was late getting home for supper, so she took a shortcut through the cemetery. But oh, it made her nervous. When she saw another girl ahead of her, she hurried to catch up. "Do you mind if I walk with you?" she asked. "Walking through the cemetery at night scares me." "I know what you mean," the other girl said. "I used to feel that way when I was alive." There are all sorts of things that scare us. The dead scare us, for one day we will be dead like they are. The dark scares us, for we don't know what is waiting in the dark. At night, the sound of leaves rustling, or branches groaning, or someone whispering makes us uneasy. So do footsteps coming closer. So do strange figures we think we see in the shadows. A human, maybe, or a big animal, or some horrible thing sitting next to us that we can barely make out with. People call these creatures we think we see Baja Men. We imagine them, they say.
We try to find where they let the dogs out.
But now and then, a Baja Man turns out to be real. Queer happenings scare us too. We hear
Tell me about it.
Don't even try to go there. Frowns would be so mad.
Tell me about it.
We hear of a boy or a girl who was raised by an animal, a human being like us who yelps and howls and runs on all fours. The thought of it makes a
I
flesh
thought it
crawl.
might have some claws.
We hear of insects that make their nests in a person's body, or of a nightmare that comes true and we shudder. If such things really do happen, then they could happen to us. It is from such fears that scary stories grow. This is the third book of such stories I have collected. I learned some of them from people I met. I found others, tales that had been written down in folklore archives and in libraries. As we always do with tales we learn, I have told them in my own way. Some stories in this book have been told only in recent times, but others have been part of our folklore for as long as we know. As one person told another, the details may have changed, but the story itself has not, for what once frightened people still frightens them. I thought at first that one of the stories I found was a modern story. It's the one I call The Bus Stop. I got a great joke about bus stops. I'll tell you later. I then discovered that a similar story had been told 2,000 years earlier in ancient Rome, but the young woman involved was named Philininian, not Joanna, as she is in our story. Are the stories in this book true? The one I call The Trouble is true. I can't be sure about the others. Most may have at least a little truth, for strange things sometimes happen, and people love to tell about them and turn them into even better stories. Nowadays, most people say that they don't believe in ghosts and queer happenings and such, yet they still fear the dead in the dark, and they still see Baja Men waiting in the shadows with their next #1 hit, and they still tell scary stories, just as people always have.
Yeah, them queer happenings.
Alvin
Schwartz.
Schwartz, the beloved author of all three of these books, is. Do you know, we didn't even talk about it before getting into reading, but now would be a good time to mention. Did you guys read these books at all when you were kids?
I did, yeah.
You had expressed excitement when I
Yeah.
brought it up when we were at the drive-in.
I don't
one time.
remember them, but I know I have read them.
It's
I
the
checked
type
them out
of
in the
thing,
library or
right?
something,
It's the
yeah.
type of thing where we in reading these over again, I find myself going like, oh, I remember this one. Like I did it like the entire time I was here with Deputy Dewey. The first book is easily the best one and the easiest to remember. It has really great stuff, but the books kind of go into the more obscure the more we move on. Like, I can't say for certain other than the Give Me Back My Boner for Boner Soup story. Like, that one I remembered. That one I remembered as clear as day. But I don't know if I necessarily remembered any of the other ones we read from that last one just now. So I'm going to go ahead and let Harold Heavyhands start with this the next section down here, but I'll read the When Death Arrives, which is the header of this section of stories.
Death.
Hold on real quick.
Shouldn't you take this one?
I got a real quick. What's the difference
yeah.
between a dirty bus stop and a lobster with tits?
jack off on a lobster with tits?
Nah, one's a crusty bus station, the other's a busty crustacean.
Yeah.
That is a good joke. Alright, this section of stories is called When Death Arrives. When death arrives, it usually is the end of the story, but in these stories, it is only the beginning.
Death.
We got a truck flying in space.
Is that your truck, Dave?
There you go. just point up at it. All right, Harold, heavy hands, take it away. We got The Appointment.
A 16-year-old boy worked on his grandfather's horse farm. One morning, he drove a pickup truck into town on an errand. While he was walking along the main street, he saw Death. Death beckoned him.
Hey, come here.
The boy drove back to the farm as fast as he could, and he told his grandfather what happened. "Give me the truck," he begged. "I'll go to the city. He'll never find me there." His grandfather gave him the truck.
That was the boy who was reading.
Well, yeah, obviously. His grandfather gave him the truck, and the boy sped away. After he left, his grandfather went into town looking for Death.
I'm right here.
When he found him, he asked, "Why did you frighten my grandson that way? He is only 16. He is too young to die."
He can't consent yet.
"I'm sorry about that," said Death.
No, come on. I'm sorry about that.
"I'm sorry about that. I did not mean to beckon him, but I was surprised to see him here. You see, I have an appointment with him this afternoon in the city."
Why did you read it like that? "I did not mean to beckon him, but I was surprised to see him here. You see, I have an appointment with him this afternoon.
In the city.
And like a field mouse.
Like a fucking field mouse.
Alright, I guess I'm reading about the bus stop. The busty crustacean. Alright. Ed Koch was driving home from work in a rainstorm while he waited for a traffic light to change. He saw a young woman standing alone at the bus stop. She had no umbrella and was soaking wet.
Oh, yeah.
"Are you going toward Farmington?" he called. "Yes, I am," she said. "Would you like a ride home?" "I would," she said, and she got in. "My name is Joanna Finney. Thank you for rescuing me." "I'm Ed Koch," he said, "and you're welcome." On the way, they talked and talked. She told him about her family and her job and where she had gone to school, and he told her about himself, and by the time they got to her house, the rain had stopped. "I'm glad it rained," Ed said. "Would you like to go out tomorrow after work?" "I'd love to," Joanna said, and she asked him to meet her at the bus stop since it was near her office. They had such a good time. They went out many times after that. Always they would meet at the bus stop, and off they would go. Ed liked her more each time he saw her, but one night when they had a date to go out, Joanna did not appear. Ed waited at the bus stop for almost an hour. Maybe something is wrong, he thought, and he drove to her house in Farmington. An older woman came to the door. "I'm Ed Koch," he said. "Maybe Joanna told you about me? I had a date with her tonight. We were supposed to meet at the bus stop near her office, but she didn't show up. Is she all right?" The woman looked at him as if he had said something strange. "I'm Joanna's mother," she said slowly. "Joanna isn't here now, but why don't you come in?" Ed pointed to a picture on the mantel. "That looks just like her," he said. "It did, once," her mother replied. "But that picture was taken when she was your age, about 27 years ago. Oh, I said 27. About 20 years ago."
It ruined the story. An extra 7 years makes the whole difference.
About 20 years ago. A few days later, she was waiting in the rain at the bus stop, and a car hit her. and she was killed.
Well, I mean, it's like 20 is a good number, isn't that like the fucking it thing? Comes back every 20
It was
years?
27.
That was 27.
That was 27.
I don't know what my head was doing there.
But no, that's the one that he said
I mean,
he thought
that was
modern
probably it, right? You're like it.
This was the one that was...
that he thought was modern, but it was like a Greek thing or
Yeah,
something.
it was based
I
back
say,
in like Rome.
That one is old as dirt.
Really, yeah, you
Yeah.
could tell that story anywhere.
Fuck you, you're dirt.
No, he's cake.
No, he's hippo.
No, he is cake.
No, he's longbow.
All right,
Look at Danson.
all right. So we got faster and faster.
Faster and faster.
Every time you read a word, it has to be faster.
No, don't listen to him. Just
So I gotta
read.
I gotta
No,
start
just
slow
nope.
And then build my
Look
way
how
up.
much story there
That's-
is.
that's
Just,
like-
That's
just read it normal.
This
barely
is
a page.
doable.
Read it normal.
It's doable!
Sam and his cousin Bob went walking in the woods. The only sounds were leaves rustling and now and again a bird chirping. It's so quiet here, Bob whispered. But that soon changed. After a few minutes, the two boys started whooping and hollering and chasing one another around. Sam ducked behind the tree. When Bob came by, Sam jumped out at him. Then Bob waved ahead and hid behind a bush, and when he looked down, there at his feet was an old drum. "Sam, see what I found," he called. "It looked like a tom-tom. I bet it's 100 years old." "Look at the red stains on it," said Sam. "I bet it's somebody's blood. Let's get out of here." But Bob could not resist trying the drum. He sat on the ground and held it between his legs, and he beat on it with one hand, then the other, slowly at first, then faster and faster, almost as if he couldn't stop. Suddenly there were shouts in the woods and the sound of hoofbeats. A cloud of dust rose from behind a line of trees. Then men on horseback galloped toward them. "Bob, let's go," Sam shouted. He began to run. "Hurry!" Bob dropped the drum and ran after him. Sam heard the twang of a bow firing an arrow. Then he heard Bob scream.
Ah!
When Sam turned, he saw Bob pitch forward, dead. But there was no arrow in his body, and there was no wound. And when the police searched, there were no men on horseback, there were no hoof prints, and there was no drum. The only sounds were leaves rustling, and now and again, a bird chirping.
Chirp.
Okay, so you... Somewhere before you started reading that story, you decided that the whole fucking faster thing was out the window. But not only were you gonna slip in like a lisp now, but also you were only going to enunciate your R's sometimes.
It was the old flip and reverse it.
Yeah.
The old flip and reverse it. You wanted faster and faster. He gave you.
I gave you a speech
stupider
impediment.
and stupider.
I got a speech impediment.
You know, I gotta take. If I was wearing a hat like you guys, I would take it off because you reminded me of hearing these types of stories around the campfire, as my stupid ass friends would try to tell them to me. So thank you for making me like
You're very welcome.
relive that moment.
That was a missed opportunity. You're never gonna get a story called Faster.
Go faster, faster. I would stop
Ever
whipping
again.
over my
Well,
words.
You're looking
Just delicious.
just delicious.
Just delicious.
Just delicious.
Delicious.
So can I just call a... I'm just gonna replace George Flynn's name with Bev.
Why? I don't understand why.
Are you also switching your pronouns, or is Bev like...
Bevy loved to eat.
Okay.
Each day at noon, she closed her camera shop
This is gonna be different.
for 2 hours and went home for a big lunch. Her wife, Mina, cooked for him.
You're already fucked up. You're already wrong.
Good for her.
Now we don't know who the hell
Oh,
is.
shit!
It's supposed to be George Flynn. Just read the fucking story. Just
Bevy,
because you think Betty looks delicious.
Bevy was a bully, and Mina was a timid woman who did everything she asked because she was afraid of her.
I don't know what she is. I don't know anymore.
On her way home from...
I don't know which her you're talking about. This is why we did it with a heterosexual couple.
On her way home for lunch one day, Bev stopped at the butcher shop and bought a pound of liver. She loved liver. She would have Mina cook her for dinner that night. Despite all her complaints about her, she was very good cook.
Which one?
While Bevy ate her lunch, Mina told her that a rich old woman in town had died. That's the third woman in the story.
Yeah, now her body, I don't know which one.
Her body was in a church next door. It was an open coffin. Anyone who wanted to see her could. As usual, Bev was not interested in what Mina had to say. "I've got to go back to work," she told her. After she left, Mina began to cook the liver. She added vegetables and spices and simmered it all afternoon, just the way Bevy liked it. When she thought it was done, she cut off a small piece and tasted it. It was delish.
Just delicious.
Delicioso. The best she had ever made. She ate a second piece, then a third. It was so good she couldn't stop. It was only when the liver was all gone that she thought of Bev. She would be coming home soon. What would he do? What would she do when she found that she had been eating all the liver? Some men would laugh, but not Bev, because she's not a man. She would be angry and mean, and she did not want to face that again. But where could she get another piece of liver that late in the day? Then she remembered the old woman lying in the church next door waiting to be buried.
Right, so she just went and got the liver of the dead lady.
Yeah, to replace the liver.
To replace
that she got
To
from the
feed
shop.
Bev.
We're not
More
done.
of the
We're not
fucking
done,
story.
guys.
Bevy said. She had never had a better dinner. "Have some liver, Mina," she said. "It's just delicious. But I'm not hungry," she said. "You finished shit." That night, after Bev had fallen asleep, Mina sat in the bed trying to read. But all she could think about was what she had done. Then she thought she heard a woman's voice. "Who has my liver?" it asked. "Who has it?" Was it her imagination? Was she dreaming? Now the voice was closer. "Who has my liver?" it asked. "Who has it?" Mina wanted to run.
No.
She whispered. "I don't have it. I don't have your liver." Now the voice was right next to her. "Who has my liver?" it asked. "Who has it?" Mina wanted to run. No. Oh, that was already there.
Mina froze it there.
Back to the next.
No.
Who has it? Who has it?
Mina froze with terror. She pointed to Bev. "She does," she said. "She has it." Suddenly, the light went out, and Bevy screamed and screamed.
That's it. Do you feel better having replaced all of the George Flints?
I just hope it's
Bevy.
not too confusing for the listeners at home.
No, they got it.
It was
for sure.
confusing enough for me sitting here on the couch.
It was confusing for
Thinking
you
about-
when you were reading it.
She said that she did what she wanted to her. Bev is a piece, though.
What?
You know Bev.
You broke death.
You know Bev, though, right?
I don't think I know Bev.
You're still my little girl, ain't you? All right. Hello, Kate. Tom Connors was on his way to a dance in the next village. It was a long walk through the fields and woods, but it was soft, sweet evening, and he loved dancing. So Tom, he didn't mind. He had gone only a short distance when he noticed a young woman following him. Maybe she's going to the dance, he thought. And he stopped and he waited for her, and as the woman got closer, he saw that it was Kate Vardy.
Ooh.
They had danced together many times.
Oh, yeah.
He was about to call, "Hello, Kate," when suddenly he remembered that Kate was dead. She died last year. Yet, there she was, all dressed up and ready for the dance. Tom wanted to run, but somehow it didn't seem right to run from Kate. He turned and he started to walk away as fast as he could, but Kate followed him. And he took a shortcut across a field, but she still followed. When he got to the dance hall, she was right behind him, and there were a lot of people standing outside, and Tom tried to lose Kate in the crowd. And he worked his way up to the side of the building, and he squeezed up against the wall behind some people, but Kate followed. She came so close, she brushed up against him, and then she stopped, and she waited. He wanted to say, "Hello, Kate," just the way he did when she was alive, but he was so frightened he couldn't speak. Her eyes looked into his eyes, and she vanished.
Is that the end?
3. We're going to read one more story apiece.
One more piece. Can this be the Bev closer where we all include Bev in our
Alright,
stories?
so
instead of the black dog,
It's
it'd
the
be
Black Bev.
the
Please-
black Bev.
please stop.
I'm not doing
Please.
the Black Bev.
please, thank you.
Please.
Thank you, Strawberry
At
Shortcake.
least
Yeah,
make
no problem.
Peter
So this
Robert.
next one, the problem with reading actual published works is in order to not get in trouble for reading them, we should try to be as authentic as possible, because they are based on actual urban legends, and no one knows who the fuck your obsession with Sophia Lillis is dedicated to. So, the black dog, Strawberry Shortcake.
It was 11 o'clock at night. Bev Rothberg.
I knew you were gonna do it. The minute I saw a name, I was like, God damn it.
I feel it too, but it was just the hesitation. It had me on the
Peter-
fucking edge of my seat.
Peter Rothberg.
Bev Rothberg was in bed on the second floor of the old house where she lived alone. It had gotten so chilly, she went downstairs to turn up the heat. As Bev was on her way back to bed, a black dog ran down the stairs. It passed her and disappeared into the darkness.
Hold on. Just
Where-
so you know, it could be way worse. He could have just said a black Bev ran down the
I'm glad.
You're welcome.
I'm glad,
So, like-
alright?
Yeah, you're welcome. And this is like Bev lives alone. It's not like we're getting confused with Bev's wife.
I want this to be Bev special.
No.
Where we all
This
just
is
close out on
this
Bev
is literally, This is literally...
Bevisode.
This is literally
The
part...
Bevisode!
This is part 4 of a series. You are coming in and fucking up an entire series right now. The story's called The Black Dog.
I hope your story indirectly has a Beverly in it.
He's gonna change it to a Peter. Alright. So anyway, as Bev was on her way back to bed, Black Dog ran down the stairs. It passed her and disappeared into the darkness. "Where did you come from?" Bev said. She had never seen the dog before. She turned on all the lights and looked in every room. She couldn't find the dog anywhere. She went outside and brought in the 2 watchdogs she kept in the backyard, but they acted as if they were the only dogs in the house. The next night, again at 11 o'clock, Bev was in her bedroom. She heard what sounded like a dog walking around in the room above her. She dashed upstairs and threw open the door. The room was empty. She looked under the bed. She looked in the closet. Nothing. But when she got back to her bedroom, she heard a dog running down the stairs. It was the black dog. She tried to follow it, but again, she could not find where it had gone. From then on, every night at 11, Bev heard the dog walking in the room above her. The room was always empty, but after she left, the dog would come out of hiding, run down the stairs, and disappear. One night, Bev's neighbor waited with her for the dog. At the usual time, they heard it above them. Then they heard it on the stairs. When they went out in the hall, it was standing at the foot of the stairs, looking up at them. The neighbor whistled, and the dog wagged its tail. Then it was gone. Things went on this way until the night Bev decided to bring her watchdogs into the house again. Maybe this time they would find the black dog and drive it away. Just before 11, she took them up to her bedroom and left the door open. Then she heard the black dog moving around above her. Her dogs pricked up their ears and ran to the door. Suddenly, they bared their teeth and snarled and backed away. Bev could not see the black dog or hear it, but she was sure that it had entered the room. Her dogs barked and snapped. They darted forward nervously, then backed away again. Suddenly, one of them yelped. Yep! It began bleeding, then dropped to the floor, its neck torn open. A minute later, it was dead. Bev's other dog backed into a corner, whimpering. Then everything was still. The next night, Bev's neighbor came back with a pistol. Again they waited in her bedroom. At 11 o'clock, the black dog came down the stairs. As before, it looked up at them and wagged its tail. And when they started towards it with the pistol, it growled and disappeared. That was the last Bev saw of the black dog. But it did not mean that the dog was gone. Now and then, always at 11, she heard it moving around above her. Once she heard it running down the stairs. She never managed to see it again, but she knew that it was there.
Oh, we got some feet coming out of the ceiling.
Nice ceiling legs.
We got footsteps.
Okay.
It's all you, Harold.
Bev was doing her homework at the dining room table. Her younger sister, Bev, was sleeping upstairs.
Please, only one. I can genuinely only handle one. Pick which name you are replacing, because I'm not going to let you replace every name with Bev. I'm not.
Their
You need
mother
to
was
pick
out.
one. Pick one! Pick one! Start the lineup!
Their mother was out.
There was only one Bev! Not letting you continue. Her young sister, Sarah, was asleep upstairs.
Alright, Bev was doing her homework at the dining room table. Her younger brother, Bobby, was upstairs. Their mother was out, but she was expected to be back any minute. When the front door opened and shut, Bev called, "Hello, Mama!" But her mother didn't answer, and the footsteps Bev heard were heavier, like a man's. "Who's there?" she called. No one replied. She heard whoever it was walk through the living room, then up the stairs to the second floor. The footsteps moved from one bedroom to the other. Again, Liz called, "Who's there?"
So you got Liz's name right?
Ah, shit. Again, Bev called,
Thank you.
"Who's there?" The footsteps stopped. Then she thought, "Oh my God. Bobby's in his bedroom." She ran upstairs to Bobby's room. Only Bobby was there, and Bobby was asleep. Bev looked in the other rooms, but found no one. She went back down to the dining room, scared out of her wits. Soon she heard footsteps again. They were coming down the stairs into the living room. Now they went into the kitchen. Then the door between the kitchen and the dining room slowly began to open. "Get out!" Bev screamed. The door slowly closed. The footsteps moved out of the kitchen, through the living room, toward the front door. The door opened and shut. Bev ran to the window to see who it was. No one was in sight, nor were there any footsteps in the fresh snow that had been falling. Damn,
Ghost
man.
just comes into your house, walks all over your fucking place, and fucking leaves.
And there was only one set of footprints in the sand, for that was when Jesus had been carrying Bev.
Jesus wept.
Right. I'm glad that this is what we're doing.
Come
We
on.
got a fun gaggle.
Bring it home with the Bev.
We got a fun gaggle of gentlemen here.
Gaggle of Bevs.
Ghoulie bunch.
Which
Like Bev's eyes.
like cat's eyes.
As Bev Brand.
Why do I get the shortest one? As Jim Brand lay dying, his wife, Bev,
Yeah.
left him with his nurse and went into the next room to rest. Beverly sat in the dark, staring into the night. Suddenly, Lil Bev saw headlights come rapidly up the driveway. Oh no, Bev thought. I don't want visitors now. No, not now. But it wasn't a car bringing a visitor. It was an old hearse with maybe a half dozen small men hanging from the sides. At least, that's what it looked like. The hearse screeched to a stop, and the men jumped up and stared up at her, their eyes glowing with a soft yellow light like cat's eyes. She watched with horror as they disappeared into her house. An instant later, they were back, lifting something into the hearse, and then they drove off at high speed, wheels squealing, the gravel in the driveway flying in all directions. At that moment, the nurse came by to say that Jim Brand had died.
Oh, dang. So the
little demons come to collect
the
his
6
soul.
little people came and...
Come to get his fucking soul.
Oh, just...
They were cat people, though?
They were like little demon boys.
No, just they had the cat
little,
eyes.
Little dead boys.
Did they have the buttholes, or were they removed?
They had.
They did.
Nothing
yeah.
was mentioned about their buttholes.
No, it's in the drawing.
I don't agree
Their
with
ani
you,
are in the drawing.
and I'm done with this episode. I don't.
The Beverly Spectacular.
Ani?
Nope.
Anuses?
Nope. It's literally called
just
episode
anuses?
188. Feel the Shorts Part
Sure.
4 with
I don't-
Strawberry Shortcake and Harold Beverly Hands.
Baba Booey.
So yeah, if you know the plural of anus and would like to tell me tomorrow so I can include it in today's episode, that would be great.
So,
Probably anuses.
I'd ask
The
how
ani is a lot cooler.
I'd ask how you felt about today's episode, but to be completely honest, I don't care. We're done, and we did it. So here we are, episode 188, and I wish I could say that I'm not gonna see you guys again for a while, but I'm gonna see you guys in 12 episodes or so for the 200 episode special. Yeah, cheers!
Why, did you not have a good time?
Because you're just gonna throw more Bev into my fucking campaign. The campaign
No.
that...
No,
That was
spent-
just this episode.
I've
This
spent-
is the Beverly
this is the
Spectacular.
Bevisode.
Can I tell you that the campaign is 40 pages that I have written,
That's a lot of Bev.
and it's a 15 page...
Is there any Bev, though?
It is a 15-page map.
Is it designed
Printer pages. It is
specifically around
15 pages.
specifically around people, or just kind of like random? Like, do you have an idea of what you want people to run into specifically?
So that was episode 188 with
think that is a
Harold,
yes.
with Harold Heavy Hands
Yeah, I think
and Strawberry Shortcake. I'm not gonna talk about the special anymore because it's special. So if you want to catch some of the special, tune in about 12 weeks, and then again the week after that
I
point.
dropped my Bev.
I'm gonna give a shout out. You dropped your Bev.
Do you get it?
Yeah, beverage. Yeah, I get it. So I'm going to give a shout out to the YouTube. Thank you to all the new subscribers, the people who have hopped over from SoundCloud to YouTube. Love you guys. Thank you for all of the views. We posted one episode of Phasmophobia. Actually, the second one will be up by this
What do you
point.
listen on?
But we have
Spotify.
He listens
he listens on Spotify. That he does. So shout out to all the people watching us on YouTube. Lots of material to come. Second episode of Phasmophobia is already up, and I'm playing through another game with Deputy Dewey, and we'll have a lot more Phasmophobia to show. I have so many hours of footage to cut down. So definitely hop over to our YouTube if you haven't already, because we are doing some fun stuff there. Harold Heavy Hands is there. We're playing
Eat a dick.
playing some games together over there. So hop on the YouTube and smash that subscribe and like button, and remember
It's a
to
heavy hand.
kill yourself.
Harold Bevy hands.
That's what I already said it.
Oh, did you? Damn it. Did you say Strawberry Shortcake?
No, I didn't. But that's good.
Harold
I
Bevy
said Harold Beverly Hands,
Oh,
but I guess
that's
yours was better.
No.
It's fine.
Well, they're both Bevs. As long
Strawberry
as Bev's
Mine,
as long as Bev's
mine
involved, it doesn't matter.
Mine doesn't work.
Oh no, it works.
Captain Bev.
I wait till the day's end when the moon is high and little rise with the tide with the lust for life. I'm as an army, I will run as a horde, and then we'll look across the land until we stand at the shore. I'll wait till day's end when the moon is high and little rise with the tide with the lust for life. I'm as an army, I will run as a horde, and then we'll look across the land until we stand at the shore.